Let's talk trade deadline. Trades have already begun.
Yeah,
the Oakland A's have sent Scott Kazmir to the Houston Astros, who are making a run.
Good for Houston.
For a couple of prospects. So what's next? I mean, we got some big arms that are going to be dealt. It looks like Cueto, Hamels, Samardzija, Shields. Yeah, San Diego.
What an about
they
face
turned
for the
on
Padres,
him quickly, didn't they?
Well, here they blew up the roster. They did. They were the most active team that I've ever seen in the winter meetings, and now they're thinking about trading Upton. They're thinking about trading Shields. They're doing an about face on everything. David Price.
They dumped Matt Kemp if they could.
Yeah. Well, the salary they had to, you know.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great, interesting trade deadline. Bridage said the other day it's going to be one of the most active that he's seen, whether the Rockies are involved in it or
well,
not.
And he put it correctly, if that's the way you put it, that he's seen, not be involved in.
But the thing is, guys, this week through the weekend into the first of next week is going to determine a lot, because there's so many teams right here around that second wild card. And if they think that they can hang around, they're not going to sell. If they come to the realization, like the Tigers, that, you know what, this is really a no-hoper. We're going to get rid of the guys that are rental pieces, so to speak, or maybe even make a bigger deal.
That second wild card spot has changed the way teams do business, hasn't it?
It really has. Yeah. It makes it
That's
very
why I don't think there's going to be the flurry that people think, because I think that people always like their own people, and they go, well, you know, we're still in it. You know, we're sitting here talking about the Rockies. And I go, my God, you're the third worst team in the world. And people talk about, well, they could make some moves and stuff. No, they can't. But there are a bunch of teams that are going to say, all we got to do is win like 8 in a row.
Well,
we're right there.
The thing is with trades, and I don't think fans a lot of times understand this, or they don't want to understand it. Just because you say, oh, get rid of a guy because he's got a high salary and it's time to retool, you got to get value back. And when you're talking
Unless
about...
you're Ty Lawson.
Well, true. But if you're talking about a guy like Tulo or Cargo with that much money on the books, getting value back and getting somebody to buy into your trade, particularly in the middle of the season, is very difficult. That's why more stuff happens in winter than now.
But smarter guys than me are saying, and this has been the history of the Rockies, and I'm saying this politely, they hold on to guys too long.
They do.
So now Tulo's on the other side of 30. He's had the history of injuries. Cargo's, what, 29? That if you had made a deal 2 years ago, you could have gotten a lot of value for either one of them. But they have done that with, I mentioned everybody from Seth Smith, and people go, well, but they hung on to him and they got nothing for him.
Well, and the other point
and he had a pretty good run there with the Rockies.
The other point to it is, I don't think this is a secret, there are teams around Major League Baseball who don't find it particularly easy to work with the Rockies front office. And they think that the Rockies tend to overvalue their talent. And the prime person in this case, in my mind, would be Willeen Rosario. The Texas Rangers, from what I know, have made at least 2 overtures to
Not
get
after
Rosario.
last night.
Well, yeah, well.
But they ain't going to play in the first, that's for sure.
But the Rockies, I think, aren't risk takers, and they tend to overvalue.
Well, and the other reason they overvalue them is there is a Coors Field advantage.
Sure there
So if I am the general manager of Cincinnati Reds, and I come in and I go, you know, I want to get Willeen. And I go, well, yeah, he's hitting 280 for us, and you know, he's hit 12 home runs, whatever he's hit. And I go, yeah, but if you devalue Coors Field, and you're coming here, even though we know it's a mystique that there are places like we saw at the All-Star game, Cincinnati's no.
Yeah, Philly's a bandbox.
Oh yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of places around the league now. Houston, even that if I'm a general manager, I go, yeah, well, we got to come down because those numbers are inflated. And then the Rockies go, no, they're not. So
you know what?
I think there's two.
One thing I was hoping you guys
issue.
would bring up, and you haven't talked to me about it yet. And,
well, bring it up.
Well, John Gray.
You can ask yourself the question.
Thank you. Here's the question, Patrick. People keep asking, why has John Gray not been promoted to the major leagues yet? And Jeff Bridich and those in the front office, they give us their basic reasons. I talked to a couple folks today to try to find out a few more specifics about. They say he's got things to work on. Well, what things? And I found out today, and here's what I heard from scouts, those type of people, that Gray is close, But there are certain things that the Rockies believe he needs to improve on, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a bad experience for him in the majors.
Mechanically or mentally?
Mostly mechanics. And what they're thinking is his slider is still not where it needs to be consistently. That if he makes the mistakes with his slider that he can get away with at AAA, he does it up here, he's going to get killed.
You leave it flat, forget it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other things are things such as his fielding, his position, holding runners on, quickness to the plate. That all sounds real technical, and the idea could be, well, why not let him work on that up here?
This is not where you work on things.
But I'm just saying, so that's what I've been told are some of the things that are keeping John Gray from coming up. Anyway, just to let people know.
Thank you, and a great question. Would you like to ask yourself another question? Sure. Or can I throw one in here
no,
and then you get back to your questions? So they're not going to throw Jonathan Gray into the fire. John Gray is not going to come up here and work on this stuff. Oh, well, Eddie, come up here. You know, you still have a lot of issues, but let's throw you to the lions.
You were talking Eddie Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My guy.
So your question is, why are they
okay, Eddie Butler is supposedly in that paragraph.
Well,
so they want him to come up here and work on the crap that he can't do?
Well, here's my take on Eddie Butler. Everybody I've talked to, and I think Eddie'd agree with this, as you know, delightful young guy. Just
my friend.
Talks about 1,000 miles a minute. He's terrific. He had a lot of growing up to do. Still does a little bit. But the Rockies and Eddie think that the mental part of his game has gotten to the point where he can withstand a couple, 2, 3 bad innings, and his stuff is good enough for him to take his lumps up here at the major league, and it's not going to set him back as it did last year. That would be my rationale as to why he's up and John Gray isn't. Anyway, that's the theory I have.
Hey, he's Patrick Saunders, brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.